Oh, man. Oh, man. Oh, man. All right. We got through Christmas. We got through a vast chunk of 2020. We're in stoppage time now. So,
are we?
We're getting close to stoppage
I think we're in the last 5 minutes.
I don't know.
Things get weird in the last 5 minutes. I saw a fire truck on fire today.
God. That's the most 2020 thing I've seen.
That's what Rex Chapman tweeted.
God. I didn't see it.
It was near Macon, actually. A fire truck on fire on the side of the interstate. Yeah.
This year can eat one.
I have nothing to contribute to that conversation.
Nope. Yeah. All right, so there are some leagues that are on break at the moment. There are some that are still going. There's controversy, as they like to say, in the old UK. So, Jason, where in God's name are we even starting today, man?
You know what? Let's start with how fast things can turn. You know, we did a Power Hour show on Saturday where Chelsea was getting ready to play Arsenal. You know, everybody was talking about Mikel Arteta. Oh, there's no way they're going to win this game. He's in huge trouble. He's in a relegation fight. I mean, Big Sam's chiming in saying he's in a relegation fight. Mm-hmm. You know, it's like Chelsea. Well, yeah, they have one of the best teams in the league. They should be a contender. They could get all the way up to second or third. And now, after they played 2 games since Saturday, which is also very, very stupid, England, stop doing this. It's really, really stupid. There's just no other way around it. It's dumb. You played 2 games in 48 hours. It's dumb. Chelsea got 1 point out of those 2 games.
But it's honorable because they're strong and tough and English and proud and brave, and their bodies don't break as easily, I'm guessing.
I think they do. And they're bringing in players from all over the world, so it doesn't really matter anymore, does it? It's stupid. Don't do this to these people. And now Frank Lampard goes from, me saying, like, yeah, they're a contender, and they might have the best roster in terms of pure talent in the league, to Domer screaming "Gah" in the chat, and Chelsea in a bad place. To the point that Bild in Germany today tweeted out that, yeah, if Frank doesn't get a result, Thomas Tuchel is standing right there saying, "Hi, guys. Hello. I'm ready. I know a couple of those guys. They're German, too." It's craziness. How fast things can turn.
Well, as far as Mikel goes, does Arsenal really have any better options? I mean, Thomas Tuchel's out there, sure, but
Thomas Tuchel's a good option.
He's a good option, but is that something you want to do mid-season?
I don't think you do, but
No.
If you are Roman Abramovich and you have not really been known for rational decisions, and you have spent a boatload of money in going out and getting players that you think are great and you think are a perfect fit and you think you can make them all work,
right?
How patient are you going to be with a club legend in Frank Lampard, who had a great first year when there was no pressure, and now, I don't know.
But there's larger issues to be had here. With Chelsea, I think Chelsea and Arsenal are 2 radically different problems.
Mikel Arteta's fine now, it sounds like. Everything's great with him. He figured it all out.
Well, if you're Arsenal, I think you have to wait until the end of the year to do anything. Unless you are like at the bottom 3, you have to hold out. You can't. You're not. You can't blow this project up.
They got the cushion they needed now.
Yeah.
Like they needed a cushion. The 3 points over Chelsea that was unexpected. They should get something out of the 2 games they're playing against 2 teams at the bottom of the table. If you get 9 points in those 3 games, you're good with Arteta for a while. And you should be, because I think he'll be fine in the long run. But when it was looking like they might get into who do we need to call? Oh, Big Sam's already gone. Oh, Tony Pulis just got fired from Sheffield Wednesday today, so he's not really a good fit. Who else are we going to go get?
45 days.
Yeah. It's like, who else are we going to go get to handle this relegation crisis? It looks like they're not going to be in the relegation crisis, so they should ride it out with Arteta.
But, with Chelsea, you said, okay, we're going to change things up. We're going to bring in Maurizio Sarri, who's going to provide this exciting brand of ball. That he's going to, take us to the promised land. It didn't work, obviously. So now you say, okay, we're going to turn to Frank, and Frank's going to save us, club legend. He'll get the boys back, the boys backing, no problem. And been less than desirable results. You've dumped a boatload of cash, as you said. Roman Abramovich, never the most patient owner in the Prem. But again, who do you want to be if you're Chelsea? You can't just say I want to be a winner. That's because you can't keep bringing in these radically different managers.
That's what they've done.
And that's what they've done. And so they have no identity other than Who are you? A winner. Okay, but how do you win? Like, what's the methodology?
Well, who did they bring in before? Who was the last guy who came in before Frank and wanted to create an identity and wanted to have them playing in a certain way with a certain identifiable style? He got run out of town because people were freaking out about what Maurizio Sarri was doing.
Right, but that's the thing. If you're Chelsea, it's the poison chalice. You're going to get financial backing, right? So if you're one of these managers who's always said, Antonio Conte's the prime example of this. Mm-hmm. I need my players. Get me my players. Man, I'm going to throw a fit. And so then he goes to Chelsea, he gets his players, and he still flames out.
But he won.
But the pressure is so great there. It's just not sustainable. There's no level of success where Roman Abramovich does not believe in off years.
So don't buy is what you're saying.
Right. And so who's the next person who comes after Frank? If you're Thomas Tuchel and you say, okay, I'm going to go to Chelsea, how long do you have to implement your system? It ain't going to be 3 months.
That's a good point.
It's not going to be 3 months. It's not going to be 6 months. You don't have any time at all. You have to come in and produce results immediately. And I don't know any manager who can thrive in that. You could take Pep Guardiola and drop him in there. Nope, not going to work.
I'll tell you who's went there and done well before, and two people who have been in there in those short-term fixes and have done well. Carlo Ancelotti, who we've talked about, who is not a system guy. He's a players guy, so he can make it work. And Gus Hiddink. He's been in there before, and he's done well because he can come in and adapt and start to work towards the system, but he can also get something out of it. Those guys aren't coming anymore. I mean, Carlo's good right now. He's not leaving. He's happy. No. So, I mean, who else is there to get in that vein? It's felt like Abramovich has always been in this push-pull with, I want an identity. I want Chelsea to be known for something. That was reportedly why he got frustrated with Mourinho at different times during the two runs with him, was that it got very defensive. And he's like, I want to have a style. It's probably what led him to Sarri in the first place. Mm-hmm. But he doesn't have the patience to deal with it. Now, Frank doesn't have a style. Frank is more along the lines of what Abramovich would normally get, except he's not making it work with the talent that he has. I don't know if it's just Frank's not getting through to the players. I don't know if he's just completely botching lineups, if they're starting to tune him out. I don't know if he can't handle the pressure. But there has to be that question right now, and this is how fast the Premier League can turn. Chelsea had a chance to go into second by the end of the weekend, and now, that seat's pretty hot, and you got the German media saying, yeah, we've got somebody right here who's ready to take over. It's craziness.
Jared, what are your thoughts on the situation at Chelsea before I jump into a little bit of buffoonery on this?
It sounds like a position that nobody should want.
Right.
Can I give you a sacrilegious name that might win 2 trophies this year that would absolutely have Chelsea burned to the ground, but if you wanted a young English manager, it's one in Glasgow who might win 2 trophies and win the league?
No.
Oh, man.
No, stop. That's not happening, Jared. No.
I want to see it burn.
No.
Give Steven Gerrard the ring. give Steven Gerrard Chelsea.
And Sean,
I have not even had any drinks tonight. You're welcome.
Yeah, seriously, you might need to lay off whatever you're breathing in at that grocery store. He's not washing dishes, Sean. There was speculation you were washing dishes, Jarrett. He was at a grocery store, I believe.
No, doing the weekly shopping. And I just needed to hear everyone yell about Chelsea because, my God, no, seriously though, why would you want that job right now?
No, and that's the problem is that with the Chelsea job, if you go and you read Carlo Ancelotti's autobiography, he talks about meeting with Roman, and Roman sits down. The first thing Roman Abramovich says to him is, "My dear Carlo, I want to win everything." Mm-hmm. And that was the first words out of Roman Abramovich's mouth to Carlo Ancelotti. And that, by the way, is a fantastic autobiography. Carlo goes into detail about how he gave the middle finger to opposing fans, not because they were bad-mouthing Roma, where he was playing at the time, but because they insulted his favorite type of pasta in the process. And he felt more aggrieved at the fact that his favorite pasta had been besmirched than anything that was being
You can't have pasta being besmirched now. That's no good.
No, you can't have that. You can't have it. But it to me is the job that in some ways it's even more difficult than the one you have at Real Madrid, because at Real Madrid you have a few key things. Your KPRs are pretty simple. Destroy Barcelona every chance you get. Mm-hmm. And being the have a shot to win Champions League. Yeah, I mean, do that, and the rest of it pretty much takes care of itself. You're going to finish in the top 2 of La Liga. That's pretty much a given based on the spend and just the talent on hand. But with Chelsea, it's not that way. I mean, you have Liverpool. You have, a team like Leicester City that's up there now. The Man U's of the world who will pop up and flame the earth every now and then and vanish into the darkness.
In the middle of the night.
Oh, man, there you go. The Brendan Rodgers slander.
There you go.
Everton.
Yeah. Look at Everton.
Third.
King Carlo doing his business.
Yeah, we got to talk about Everton, too, here in a minute, because things are getting weird with that Everton-Manchester City game that was supposed to get played today, and Everton is not happy at the moment, and we'll get into that.
Yeah, but if you're Chelsea, we have to address the signings as well. Timo Werner, we've talked about this. We talked about this when he went.
You were all over it.
He came from that Red Bull, that gegenpressing system, and in that system, the field is very compressed. The forward has to do the tracking of the ball, but at the same time, you're in position where it's like a little dink and dunk goals. It's not exactly like you're doing a tremendous amount of work and creating space for yourself. I mean, it's beep, 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 I'm right here, goal. And that takes a transition period. And we see this for people who are newer to the game, and you may have been watching a lot of college football previously to this. Think about it as like the quarterbacks who come from the air raid systems, right? You're putting up a ton of yards, and you may look and say, oh, my God, this guy's going to kill it in the NFL. But then they go to the NFL, and they may or more likely not flame out because they're not used to the windows vanishing as quickly. They're not used to being, to having every ball that's over 30 yards downfield getting intercepted. They're not used to this. And so as a result, they have to have a period of adjustment. You have to look at them through a bit of a different lens, and I think that's the case with Timo Werner. He has the talent to get to where you want him to be, but it's going to take time, and I don't think Chelsea has that kind of time available to them, and Frank Lampard certainly does not, because Roman will, club legend or not, he's going to pull the plug and get the guy out of there. So
yeah, I agree with Bernd. I mean, it is hard on Lampard because he's been handed a bunch of really nice players that don't necessarily fit together, and he's had to try to make it fit in the craziest year to make it fit you could ever find. The season started later. It's more compressed than ever. You don't have as much training time. You didn't really have much of a preseason. All of that stuff that you would need, he didn't get. He did his best work last year with less pressure, with a bunch of kids. I still think he can do better. I don't think he should be completely off the hook. But there are some things that make it more difficult. I just don't think he's going to get time, even if he needs time because of Chelsea's history. We'll have to see how it plays out. And look, it could get weirder for Chelsea. Manchester City, Everton, postponed today. We'll talk a little bit more about that in a second. That's who Chelsea's set to play next on Sunday. Their next game after that is FA Cup, January 10th against Morecambe. They haven't played in their last 2 games that have been called off. So in some ways that's good. You get time, you get to train potentially, but you don't know that at this point. So you're preparing for a game. It might not happen for the game. You might not get games to build a rhythm. You might not play for a while. Is that good, bad? I don't know at this point. I don't know if that helps you or not, but it's going to be awkward.
I think any time to get players healthy is going to be better. But like you said, Frank's not a guy that is like, we have a clear defined system of operation here. We do this. These are the clear, structural tenets of our game. That doesn't exist. And so as a result, it's like, all right, you need reps. You need guys, to try to play their way into momentum, a positive momentum. And if you don't have that, it's going to cause problems. And if you are railing on your players because you say they're not putting forth a ton of effort, going against a side like Morecambe is not going to help you, because if they slaughter Morecambe, what is that going to do for you when it comes to playing Everton? Oh, yeah, we're fine. We're okay. A false sense of confidence. And then you go up against an Everton and get walloped on national television. And then what? Right? Then that blade, then you're going from a warm seat to sitting under the sword of Damocles. So, I mean, the concern with this team, because they are a team of stars, is false confidence. You have a manager who has thrown you under the bus, and now you're in a situation where you are either going to get time off or you're going to wallop some minnow team and get this idea that, oh, we're okay, we're going to be fine. There really don't seem to be a ton of positives here for this Chelsea team.
That's weird. The time off might help if they get it.
I hope it does.
And you hope for them they get that answer quickly. I mean, that's the thing that would be concerning. Like, look, if they know these games are going to get postponed, I mean, the FA Cup game, I guess, would have to get forfeited. I don't know if you could really postpone that if that's going to be an issue, because you're going to run out of time. You don't have those replays built into the schedule anymore because they've had to compress everything. So those 2 games, you might not play till January 15th. And if you know that, it'd be great for Frank Lampard, because then you can work out some things on the training pitch. You can work out some lineups. You can work out some combinations. If you don't know, and it's like, okay, we're prepping for a game, okay, now we're not playing. I mean, you're going to have to really get creative if you're Lampard and keeping everybody engaged and keeping this thing moving along. The reason we don't know is the Manchester City Everton game was postponed today. It came out about 11 o'clock that it was going to be postponed. Manchester City had 4 positives that were announced around Christmas. They've had subsequent additional positives. So what was said by Manchester City in their statement was that now they have to test everybody again. They have to try to make sure this doesn't spread within the team, because they're seeing spread. Well, Everton has come out and is not happy with the way everything was done today at all. And they might be right. They might be wrong. This is it looks bad. I don't know. They've got to come out with more. They came out with a statement. And I want to... It's a short statement, so there's really not a lot to it. They say that they regret the postponement of tonight's match, not only for the 2,000 fans who would have been attending, but for supporters on Merseyside and across the world. Our players were prepared for the game, as were both the team staff and everyone at Goodison. Match day is the most important date in our calendar, and this was a big one. Now, the last sentence is where, whilst Everton will always have public safety uppermost, we will be requesting full disclosure of all the information that Manchester City provided to the Premier League, so the club can be clear on why this decision was taken. No comment about the players who have tested positive for Manchester City and any concern for them. It immediately jumps to that. Now, the Echo is reporting that Everton was not notified by the league during the process of deciding to cancel or postpone. they were told after the decision was already made. Manchester City say that they can trace this back to a London hotel that they stayed in last week. That's according to reports. The league opened this door when they had said early on that they weren't going to postpone games. If you had the certain number of players, you were going to play, period. Then they changed that for Newcastle. When they changed it for Newcastle, they opened up this door that this could happen. There's not a clear line. And this is the same thing that we've seen in the NFL. It's the same thing we've seen in college football. College football has probably had the clearest line, which is crazy, about a certain number of players and position groups. But, you know, they have to be involved in the conversation at least. So, like, Everton can't make the decision, and if they're expecting to be able to be involved in making the decision, that's bonkers to me. But they have to be, I guess, up to speed as the decision is being made, would be the fair way to put it. But coming out and saying this the way they said it, it's a bad look in my opinion.
Yeah, you have to at least have Everton at the table when this is being discussed.
Yeah, you do.
At least at the table. They don't have to have input, just, hey, look, guys, we're going to have this conversation with Man City. They have some COVID tests that have not gone as we had hoped. Sit in on the call. We're going to mute you, but we want you to hear what's going on so you can adjust accordingly. That's a very simple conversation to have. I don't understand why it didn't happen that way.
I agree. Totally agree.
It's completely stupid. But
you can't have one of these happen with a Big Six club.
No.
Where it might look a little bit shady to someone who was looking for a reason for it to look shady.
Yes.
Yeah, and I should probably cue this up for you, Jarrett. If it wants to play. It doesn't even want to play. Doesn't even want to acknowledge that.
Wow.
Yeah.
I don't even want to say, expand on that, because I don't even want to put it out there for people to potentially take it seriously, because I don't mean it that way. But there are plenty of people who would be happy to look at it that way. All they need is an excuse.
Black helicopters.
Yeah. There are people who have already said it.
Yeah. Because it makes sense. It's like, man, the schedule's so compressed. Hey, look, if we get a few dozen COVID tests, I mean, it's not like they're going to have to go and showcase.
We'll get COVID.
Are you calling Pep Guardiola Dabo Sweeney? Is that what you just did?
He did.
I mean, they both have full titles. They both can get pretty much whoever they want. They both have had a number of assistants move on.
Wow,
that's
horrible, Jarrett. That's absolutely horrible. I'm totally offended.
Would you rather me go? Would you rather me to go Nick Saban?
Clem City.
Nick Saban hasn't done anything like that. He's just had his DNA from his nose sent on a private plane.
No.
He didn't cancel. He didn't get any games canceled or try to do any of the stuff that reportedly Dabo Swinney was trying to do. And I don't think Pep's trying to do that. You were besmirching Pep.
No.
Hey,
and I'm a safe enough distance away from Jason that I'm going to be able to hear footsteps before I'm attacked.
There it is.
I believe if there's a team in the Prem that could pull this off, it would be City. Hey,
Liverpool.
Oh yeah, the plucky upstarts don't have the funding required for that. They'll tell you that themselves. They don't have the funding to pull that off.
No,
they would gut it out with dignity and grace.
It's not like this is going to help City in the long run. The game's not getting canceled; it's getting postponed. Like, there's only so many dates you can play. They're gonna so they're not gonna play right now. Ooh, yay! As Dale Johnson points out, if City goes deep in Champions League and FA Cup, which they probably would like to, they've got 2 games to rearrange. Aston Villa at home is the other one. Remember, they didn't play the first match day because of playing late in Champions League, so that got pushed back. So
I don't think it's going to get rearranged. I think it's going to end up being canceled.
No, they won't cancel it because City will be in the title race. They're not going to go to points per game. No, they're not going to do that unless they absolutely have to. It's going to get played because Everton needs it played too. Because Everton would like to try to get 3 points there. Both would.
Now, get to the end of the season, this game doesn't
played and Everton wins on points per game.
Now, that would be funny if it's over Liverpool, and then people would riot, and that part wouldn't be funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's a mess. You're probably going to have to do what Tottenham did, because Tottenham already had to do this. They had to play 2 games in a midweek in September. Remember when they did like did they do a Tuesday, Thursday kind of situation where they had extra games to make up? That's what you're going to look at some point in the season. If they get to the Gummy Bear Cup final, then that's another game to add in. They're going to have to reschedule and rearrange. They're going to have to play them.
I think with the spread of the new variant of COVID, I think it changes. It is a game changer in a lot of ways.
That's a whole different conversation, right?
And I think that's something that we have to factor into this. If things stay as they are, then I think you're right.
Yeah.
If things stay they are,
that's what
and
I'm
the
saying.
new variant of COVID is dealt with very quickly, and the new lockdown works and it goes away, then fantastic. I think you're right. I think they will play the games. But if this second variant of COVID starts getting wacky and they have to start making radical adjustments, I think they may have to just say, hey, look, we're going to have to issue either someone an L on this, or we're going to have to cancel the game.
They won't do an L. They would.
So
there's just no way, unless they can prove that there was funny business going on. And I don't think they'll be able to do that.
No, I don't think they'll be able to prove funny business took place. I don't think
what are you saying, Black Helicopter Pilot?
Every league should hire Nick or myself or someone like us to sit in on these meetings.
That's right.
And so when they make the decision, we can tell them, here's how this is going to play out for all the psychopaths and Black Helicopter folk.
That's right.
Here's what you're doing. Here's how you can adjust what you're saying so that you can get your message across, but not expose yourself to the Twitter comments of the dark side.
Correct. That's right. And look, we'll walk in, we'll look really disheveled, so we play the roles correctly, right? Like the super dingy laser. I'll not shave my head for about 3 weeks. I'll not shave the face for a little while.
I'm going to wear a suit that looks like...
Uh-oh. We lost Jared at the produce section.
He's lost in the Piggly Wiggly. I have no idea what's going on with Jared.
And that Piggly Wiggly I knocked over.
See, this is what happens.
That's it.
You start talking reckless in the Piggly Wiggly and things get out of hand.
He went by the kombucha section and there went the signal right at the door. What is this? Is this the autumn blend is still on sale? Oh wait, hold on.
While we're finishing the Black Helicopter theory idea here and all this, we got to get into fair play, because we're kind of talking about fair play, right?
Okay, yeah.
This is kind of fair play. There are accusations, there are questions. Everton is pretty much calling City out. Like, what is going on? We want to know. We want to see all the documentation. Maybe could have been handled a little bit better. What do you think about Jack Grealish and the goal today and that whole situation? Because people are in their feelings about it in a lot of different ways. And Domer probably needs to chime in from the Chelsea perspective on this. But basically, Jack Grealish maybe exaggerated a bit on a incident with Andreas Christensen. I do believe Christensen left his left leg back to make sure he caught Grealish. Grealish went down and tried to draw a foul. He did not. Christensen stayed down. People are saying that Grealish dove into the leg and injured Christensen, and Aston Villa should not have scored the goal. To the point that it was being talked about in very strong language on Argentine television because, if you will remember correctly, this is from Adam Brandon, who covers the South American game. ESPN Argentina going in two-footed on Aston Villa right now, and the quote was, Aston Villa complain about fair play, then a year later don't respect it. Now remember, John Terry was pointing a lot of fingers at Marcelo Bielsa. There was a lot of talk from Aston Villa at Leeds about what happened. Leeds ended up giving Aston Villa a goal back in that situation, and I don't think they should have. Right. And now Villa takes advantage of a situation. They weren't giving any goals back. And Domer's yelling he drugged the foot at Grealish. But you don't kick the ball out. I'm sorry. You don't.
I'm a believer in the dark arts.
We know this.
If this were soccer Hogwarts, I would be the instructor for the defense against the dark arts. I have.
So you'd be dead next year. That's terrifying.
Yeah, pretty much. But I will say that it happens. Like, guys try to die. I think Grealish. I will.
Does he stretch the bounds?
And say, huh?
Does he stretch the bounds? Is that what you're trying to get at?
Yes,
he does.
Look, there's a difference between taking a dive and then making a dive so cartoonish that it looks like you're diving into a man's leg. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a difference. It's almost like a WWE oversell. Like when somebody gets hit with something and the other guy sells it too hard, like he launches himself across the ring and almost cartwheels out. That's what I feel like this Grealish dive is. And it's yes, Aston Villa deserve every bit of stick they're going to get, because if you can't be the team that says and then when it happens on your end, be like,
that part is true. I totally agree with you on that.
Like in 2006, Italy advanced against Australia from a dive. We took a dive. We got a penalty, and it was an egregious dive.
Oh, it was a horrible dive.
And I was like, hey, what are you doing? And in the final, France took a dive, and I had to sit there and be like, because it happens. There are moments where you want to go, hey, that's terrible, because it wasn't my guy that was doing it. I'm going to be the recipient of the bad stuff that's going to come from the dark arts. It happens, man. If you distribute the dark arts, you receive the dark arts. That's it. And watch, it's gonna come back. It's gonna come back against Aston Villa when they're not wanting it. So
see, here's the thing for me. There's multiple layers to it. First off, the ref could have called a foul on Christensen, could have called a foul on Grealish, could have called something. That's on the referee. Should that mean that Aston Villa should have stopped playing because Christensen was down? I don't think it should have. I really, truly don't. Just like I didn't think the ref should have stopped playing in the Leeds-Aston Villa incident last year. I don't think they should have stopped playing in that one because there wasn't a head injury. There wasn't a worry about a broken leg or blood gushing out somewhere, anything like that.
Right.
Players down. Play on. Christensen didn't get subbed. He wasn't unable to continue. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, don't give me the, Grealish injured him so badly because he took a dive. I think Christensen left his leg out, too. Did Grealish jump more into it? Sure. Mm-hmm. He was looking for a foul. And when he didn't get it and he saw that he could hop up and get involved in a play, he did.
All right.
I don't really care. I don't like it. Don't complain about not getting calls if you're going to do that. That's the other side of it.
That's my thing. That's the bigger thing. The actual incident on field, I don't care about because it's the dark arts that happen.
Call it or don't call it.
Game. Yeah, call it or don't. It's on the ref. It's on VAR, whatever. But you can't complain about stuff when it's happening to you, and then go do that.
Yeah,
you can't. That doesn't work.
Totally agree.
That I cannot abide by.
Totally agree because that was what really irked me last year before this happened today.
Right.
With all of the pointing at Bielsa, he was involved in Leeds continuing to play and score a goal there. Mm-hmm. He had nothing to do with it. Your guy stayed down on the ground after an incident. It's not something that the referee should have stopped play for. You can't be begging the opposition to kick the ball out every single time because then teams start to take advantage of it.
Right.
So it's a call that the referee can make. You can agree with the call. You can disagree with the call. I don't think Villa should have stopped playing. But they open up the door to get complained about because of their actions last year when they complained that Leeds should have stopped playing, to the point that Bielsa said, fine, shut up, here's a goal. I mean, it's a bad look in that sense. But if you take it out of that context and you just put this into Team A and Team B, I don't have a problem with the way it played out.
If the ref has to call it. If the ref sees something that is worthy of stoppage, the ref needs to call it. You cannot bank on gentlemanly play to, this good chap is right down on the ground. I will kick the ball out for the right good gentleman to have his moment to recover. No,
if they call him a chap and they say it with that accent, I'm down. That works.
I'm sorry. If it's in my game and we are in the middle of a counter and some dude's going down, flopping on the ground, baby, it is Smokey and the Bandit to the goal. I don't care. We are eastbound and down. No blanks given until the ref blows the whistle or enough of my players come over to me and mid-sprint, if they can catch me, and say, hey, hold up, kick the ball out of bounds, keep going, man. Because we see it in MLS. Like, player goes down. Oh, well, boop, kick the ball out. Too many counterattacks get stopped with this mess. And it does. You're right. It becomes a thing when people start using it and to their advantage. I think it's garbage. Blow the whistle, ref, make the call.
Yeah, we've got to get past this. And I think the FIFA, IFAB leagues, everybody has said this for a while. This idea that teams are obligated to kick the ball out. Let the referee stop the play. He's got the whistle. If the referee feels like it needs to be stopped because he's worried about an injury, worried about somebody legitimately hurt, then stop it. I'm not asking anybody to kick the ball out for anything anymore. I don't care. Don't kick it out.
It's not 1889. Stop this. It's not 1889. There's too much money involved. If I score a goal and our team wins and it keeps us above the relegation zone, I'm going to go and score a goal. That guarantees my paycheck. That guarantees my people's paycheck.
He's out of the kombucha section.
Oh my God, he's free.
He's moved into the organics.
Yeah, that's not even inaccurate.
He's in the granola.
But yeah, you can't treat the game this way, and you can't play it that way without some sort of cynicism, I guess is the word I want to use here. Because you're going to use it, they're going to use that cynicism. Everybody
kombucha got him again.
Oh, the organic celery gets you every time.
Try and get a leg up because
going past the kumquats now.
Especially look at the games, look at the way the league is, especially in England. It's financial split.
He's going past the rutabaga. I don't know if he's going to make it past the rutabaga.
Completely broke down. Jared is now vegan. Yes, this is true.
That's it.
He's gone.
Actually,
he's back.
I used to be vegetarian. The only thing that brought me back from being vegetarian was literally pulled pork.
No, I would do it. That's accurate.
Oh man,
I would totally do it. Why don't you do this, Jared? Finish your shopping trip, go home, and then hop back on the call. How about that?
What store are you in? Because that store is a bunker. Like if there's some situation where we need to absolutely ensure we don't have cell phone signal, what store do we need to go to ensure we have that?
It's one of the Publixes in Southwest Cobb in Smyrna, Vining, Schmining.
I am familiar with that Publix, I believe. Is the one right by 20? Or 285. Is the one right by 285?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Good to know that you get no cell signal there.
Zero cell phone signal. Noted.
Joke's on y'all. I get to survive to the end of the world.
Also true. Well, I know where to go if that happens.
That's right. Oh, man.
All right. You
I'm
have
going to start a pro rail podcast there.
You have fun with that. Nobody will ever hear it because it won't get out of the store. You can get the loudspeaker and start doing it over aisle 8.
Oh, my God. We have a pro rel on I-8, pro rel on aisle 8.
We have NISA talk on aisle 9.
Yeah. Remember, we do
I'd
not
like to talk
tip.
to you about pro. Hey guys, where are you going?
We do not tip the Publix Pro Rel consultant.
No, you don't do that at all.
Don't you tip them.
Mm-mm.
Don't you dare. There was a day when you would tip the person who took the cart out to your car. There was a day, young squires, that would happen. Publix changed the whole game. They shifted the paradigm. Don't you tip those guys.
All right, after you fight off the cart guys, Jarrett, we'll talk to you in a bit. How about that?
There you go.
Yeah.
Bye. Pretty much. All right, so big picture in England. We've got all kinds of people in their feelings about Jack Grealish and about diving and about not diving and about goals and fair play. We've got Everton angry about not being involved in the decision on a game being postponed. We've got Steve Bruce wanting reinforcements at Newcastle, but doesn't look like they have any money to spend, so it doesn't really matter. You've got in Liverpool, Georgino Wijnaldum will decide this week whether to accept a new contract or go to Barca. Ronald Koeman wants him. He'd have to wait till he's available on a free because Barca's got no money. And Tony Pulis is fired after 45 days. Good times.
All right.
What'd you think about West Brom getting a point from Liverpool and Jurgen Klopp being in his feelings about it?
Oh, well, you know.
Big Sam.
Those plucky upstarts, sometimes there are people who are equally as plucky. And you can get mad that they had, 28%? Was it Big Sam's team?
Oh, I think they had 22, actually.
22?
I think it was less.
Excuse me for inflating it.
Yes, don't inflate that possession for West Brom.
That. The people who get more in their feelings about the 22% possession and how it is terrible and it should never happen, and then they come at me and say, oh, well, you're Italian. Of course you're okay with it. No, I'm okay with a result that benefits the team. And I will say that I think that in this case, you have a team that's in the relegation zone. And they need every point they can absolutely muster at all. Doesn't matter. I'm beyond pretty at this point.
West Brom has to be.
West Brom, you're West Brom, man. Get the point and get out of Dodge. And if that means you get 22% in a possession and you are the national laughing stock for a week and Big Sam, gets to make goofy faces to the camera, then you know what? You know what you signed up for. You knew what you signed up for. But you are, I will say this, it's the devil's bargain because you get the point. You may get a point here. You may get a point there. You may avoid relegation just a touch, but you are now stuck in a toxic death spiral. When you start going into the Big Sams of the world, it's a cycle because up next is going to be like in about next year at some point will be Pardew. And after that, it's going to be somebody else who jumps in, and then it's going to be Big Sam all over again.
You want the stat of the day?
Please,
maybe the stat of 2020.
Let's go.
Sam Allardyce has now won more points at Anfield, 5, since April of 2017 than all Big Six teams combined. 4. A third of all the points won by visiting teams in that time frame since April 2017 have been won by Big Sam. Big Sam right now.
Because I'm better than you, and you know it.
Big Sam to Jurgen Klopp.
That's fine. All the purists, because I logging on to Twitter after a Liverpool game is just.
It's amazing.
It's amazing.
It's so good.
And so I just felt like Dave Chappelle as Rick James, like just going like this, like in front of, because it was just like they are everything that is wrong with football, and they're everything that is terrible in the world, and Big Sam should be booted from the game. And it's like They got a point.
Oh, I hate it. Yeah, I hate it. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
I can't stand it.
No.
But I understand why they did it. I get it. I mean, they had 18% of the possession in the first half.
Michael Starre, they can deal with Big Sam.
Oh, jeez, here he comes again. Are you out of the store, Jarrett?
Yes.
Okay, good. Just making sure. Jeez. Big Sam will always bring you back, huh? 18% of possession in the first half, one shot. Second half, they were outshot 7-4. They had 3 shots on target. They get the goal to equalize. They get their point. Just a few of the tweets about the whole situation. First, Jurgen Klopp said, "It was our own fault. I don't think anybody can expect that a team play like West Brom with a 6-4 formation in the first half." Have you ever heard of this man, Big Sam? Have you heard of the legend of Big Sam? That's kind of what he does. You know, like, everybody expected it. Everybody saw that one coming. One writer says, this is a Liverpool writer, took Sam Allardyce just 1 week to suck the life out of football again. Not necessarily wrong. Mentioned the stats point. League points won at Anfield versus Jurgen Klopp. This is insane. This is maddening. So 5 different managers have 2 points. This is in total against Klopp at Anfield. Not even since the April 2017 thing. Right. So you've got 5 different guys who've gotten 2 points. Louis van Gaal got 3 points at Anfield against Klopp. Paul Clement got 3 points. Yeah. Alan Pardew got 4 points. And Big Sam's got 6. The 2 guys, Allardyce and Pardew, have gone in and had the most success at Anfield in the Jurgen Klopp era. I hope others don't take ideas from those 2, please.
But if you're Big Sam, if here's the thing about Big Sam, he's a character, right?
He's a character.
Excuse me. When he gets fired from West Brom, going to happen?
Yeah.
He's going to go right back to Sky Sports. He's going to have his job, and he'll be munching pizza on Boxing Day next year, talking about this, talking about that. Somebody shouldn't play this way. You got to be a bit braver than that. And then, guess what? He's going to be employed by February.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's guaranteed. He is like call number 4 on every lower league Premier League lower tier Premier League team and every championship team, because if you must salvage points, he's the paramedic. The paramedic's not there to keep you pretty. The paramedic's there to keep you alive.
There are some amazing pictures and videos of Sam Allardyce. That just, wow. For dancing poolside at a party, Big Sam dancing. It's mad.
Right. Big Sam doesn't care. He knows he knows he's not Cruyff.
Oh no, he knows that.
He's not Klopp. He knows he's not these transformative figures. He's a paramedic. And if you're a team that's bleeding out, you're really damn happy when the paramedic shows up.
He signed off his presser saying, "And we weren't lucky, by the way. We were very good." You were lucky. Shut up.
If the paramedic keeps you alive to the hospital,
the paramedic might have been lucky.
The paramedic might have been lucky, but you still arrived alive.
You did, but those are 2 different things.
What
he might have put it in your chest, but he got lung pumped again.
Hey,
it's true.
It is what it is, and it worked. So it's easy to sling rocks when you are in the ivory tower of Liverpool, and I don't claim to be plucky upstarts when you are sitting at the top of the ivory tower. Don't give me that mess. You're owned by a billionaire, just like Chelsea is, the collection of billionaires who own Man City, the billionaires who own Man United. Don't give me plucky lemonade sales to be able to present Mo Salah with a new contract.
Of course he took some of the blame for this too. Of course people already had the knives out for Mo Salah.
Okay, of course. Go do a bake sale, sell some crumpets and some lemonade, and give him a new contract.
You want to hear from Big Sam after the big 1-1 draw, the big result? This is Big Sam.
got a point against Liverpool, which nobody outside of us in the dressing room believed we would today. And I think when the first goal went in, everybody thought, I wonder how many it's going to be today.
I did.
Particularly after they notched 7 against Crystal Palace last week. But the players were so good today at holding the discipline and defending in a pack, defending as a team. And finally, in the end, particularly in the second half, finding a way how to attack Liverpool when they got the opportunity, which we talked about at half time, that we couldn't just keep sitting back like we did.
Did West Brom score a goal?
They did.
Oh.
What game did he?
That's Big Sam. That's his idea of a classic, Jarrett.
What MLS team would Big Sam come and destroy, and why is it Vancouver in 20?
Nah, Vancouver. Nah, it wouldn't be them.
It'd be DC because they're gluttons for punishment.
It used to be Chicago, but Chicago seems to have fixed themselves.
Yeah.
They went and got clean. They pulled a Robert Downey Jr. Chicago's kind of rehabbed themselves a bit. I'm very proud of them. They've got their own Iron Man movie coming out. They're doing well. Vancouver, on the other hand,
you know who it would be?
Him again.
Yeah, we lost him again. This is going to be a recurring thing. You know who it would be? And it would take things falling apart like they did in 2016. It would be Seattle. Because Seattle doesn't really care about your style at all.
I think you may be right.
It would be Seattle.
I will forever vendetta against the city of Seattle for the 2017 game that followed the World Cup.
2018.
That game is number 2 on my hatred list
2018.
behind the Minnesota game in Atlanta in 2017.
Yeah, it was 2018.
2018
yes.
Seattle.
Yes. I was forced to call that game, and I was very angry while calling it, and I nearly lost it on Nicolas Ladero falling down a lot.
But, again, get the result.
No, I'll tell you and they did. I'll tell you what I nearly lost it on was they were wanting VAR to get involved in a situation, and they just refused to throw the ball in. Like, the referee's like, no, we're good. We've already checked it. No, look at it again. I'm not throwing it in. Here, somebody else throw it in. I'm like, just,
Hey.
Here's the tweet. Here's the tweet on Big Sam.
Go ahead.
Here is the tweet on Big Sam. A tweeter by the name of Stack_Janton99 wins. They're at Emory, by the way, Emory Medicine. Ooh. You can always tell it's December when Mariah Carey, Michael Bublé, and Sam Allardyce come out of their caves.
That's gold. Gold.
That's a win.
That tweet needs to be engraved and put up.
It only got 2 likes.
If we need to have that tweet on the whiteboard, Jason, next time.
It's got a great picture of Big Sam grinning, too, so that might need to be printed out.
It's true. It's true. And if you are in the relegation zone, again, he's your paramedic. And you're not happy when the paramedics show up, just like you don't want the paramedics to show up, just like you don't want to be on the lifeboat of a cruise ship, but you're really happy they're there, right? Like if the ship starts going down, your views on the lifeboats change dramatically. And if you are bleeding out, your views on having to call the paramedics changes dramatically. So West Brom is not Liverpool, and they are thrilled that Big Sam got that point at Anfield.
No.
So they scored a goal.
Let's go to another step. Leeds is not West Brom.
No.
And people trying to say that Leeds needed to be like a paramedic were totally incorrect. And there are differences. There are teams in different situations, and I can understand that. I don't like it, and I will talk trash about teams that play in this way because I don't enjoy it. I wouldn't want to watch it on a regular basis. It's not fun. It does set the game back in some ways. We're exaggerating a bit, of course, but yes, it's not a good thing for the sport. Mm-hmm. But I understand why some teams have to do it. I get it. Leeds was never in that situation. They couldn't do it anyway. They're not built to do it. West Brom could come in and play that way because that's about all they ever had. Leeds was built to play a certain way. They're not going to change it all of a sudden. people were like, "Oh, look, they adapted." I thought Leeds' tweet after the game, same style, was really funny because they didn't. The philosophy that they have, one, has adaptations in it. You can adjust things. The other team's going to play 2 up top. You play 3 center backs. Things like that. I mean, that's just how you do. Mm-hmm. But the game will sometimes pin you back, even if you're a team that doesn't want to be pinned back. If you don't want to park the bus, sometimes you get pinned back, and you have to deal with it. And Leeds on the weekend showed that they could, and they won a hard-fought game, and they got 3 points, and this is the difference. And this is the difference in mentality. Sam Allardyce will come in and keep finding gauze and keep finding tape and keep finding whatever he can to keep it alive with draws. Right. Whereas Marcelo Bielsa will take chances and pick up 3 points. And he doesn't care about your draws. He's not trying to just keep it going. He's looking for more, and he's expecting more. And he's probably got less to work with or about the same to work with. But he has taught them a different way to play, and you're not going to change from that. You don't need to.
And Leeds are, and remember what we talked about before, hiring Big Sam puts you into a death spiral. And whether you get relegated,
you might already be in the death spiral when you hired Big Sam.
Right, well, but the thing is, what you're essentially saying is we're willing to do whatever, but we're willing to stay in the league by any means necessary. And that's essentially what you're saying. I'm okay just staying in the league. That's it. As long as I'm in the Prem, I'm okay. Leeds is I feel they're trying to build to something. They're trying to build to something in a different way. That it's not just survival. They're building to something that's going to be explosive.
Dead on.
And so as a result, if I'm a Leeds fan, I'm telling everyone else in the English media who are screaming that you need a Big Sam to come in and save the day, I'm showing them, 2 particular fingers, and I'm letting them know which, where they can go and what horse to ride in on, because it's classism that the English media is trying to force on Leeds. You stay where you're at, which is a lower tier Premier League club. You should be just okay staying in the league. You shouldn't want to climb your way to the top. That's not what you do. And I think it's delicious that all the Liverpool and Man U stands and the Man City stands out there who preach the gospel of playing this certain way, and we are the blue bloods, and we exude excellence, and they're trying to trash on Leeds. I mean, no, the game has changed now that you have to account for the Leicester Cities of the world, who Claudio Ranieri came in and did bunker and counter to the nth degree and won the flipping league in the process. And Leeds is trying to do that in a different way than Claudio, obviously, but they're trying to build there. West Brom's not trying to build anything other than a next point to stay above to get above Fulham and try to get where Burnley, Brighton, and Arsenal are. That's it. We're okay here. Leeds is not. Leeds is taking the second job to kill the debt to try to get to the next income bracket. That's what they're trying to do. I'm okay with that hustle.
Yeah.
And I think the English media should be as well, but,
There should be a support group for any fan who has their team taken over by Big Sam. Like, the day you get the email notification or the Twitter notification about so-and-so has announced Big Sam as the interim manager till the end of the year.
Mm-hmm. There should be get an invite to a Discord or to a Slack channel?
Yes. Yeah.
Just immediately, like all your season ticket holders get it?
Yeah.
Hey.
Bradley Martin tweeted at us, and he said, "What would it take to get Jason to read Big Sam's autobiography on Soccer Down Here?" Wow.
All you have to do is ask.
Wow. I might have to find this. I have not read Big Sam's autobiography. I know you're shocked. I would like to hear his thoughts on defense, and I would like to hear his thoughts on creative players, and I would like to hear his thoughts on gravy, probably, and anything else on his mind.
Just be it's hard. It's hard because I understand where the West Brom mindset is.
Yeah, I get it. They're 19th.
Sheffield United of the world, Fulham, I get it. But I feel like Fulham wants to change that. They want to be. Yep. They want to follow the Leeds model and say, "Look, we're gonna invest in this build, and we are gonna change the way we do things." Meanwhile, Sheffield United, West Brom, hey, churn and burn the management. It doesn't matter. We'll plug and play here, and you will stay where you are. And if you want that, that's fine. But
you're like a not fun yo-yo. Like yes. It's not Norwich. Norwich tries to play. They are what they are. They're going to bounce back and forth between the two, but they're going to play their way. You're not the fun yo-yo. Like, you just keep picking up the brick that you keep rolling out and expecting to roll back up to you because you just keep doing it over and over again and dropping it on your foot because that's what this style is. I think Byrne makes a good point. Like, there's a difference between your Ranieri, Leicester, or teams that play a sit and counter idea. I don't even know if I want to call it bunker, but they counter. Countering is a huge part of their game.
Right.
That's not Big Sam. That's not Steve Bruce. No. That's not these guys. It's just defend and hope. Right. And when you come out and you say, like, oh, well, we weren't lucky. Yes, you were, because you didn't really try to do a whole lot going forward. No. That's the difference. They got one. Good for them. Is this 1 point going to make much of a difference in the long run? I honestly don't think it will, because 1 point multiple times is not enough. You get a win, it's more than 2 draws. You have to go for wins. And this style of play is nothing about winning games.
Yeah, I think all you can do right now if you're West Brom is hope that Burnley and Brighton, I mean, Brighton is, 3 of their last were draws, 3 of the last games were draws. You're really hoping now that streak continues. You're hoping that Fulham does nothing more than draw, and you're needing a lot of help. So the first thing you need to do is stop digging and do no harm. So
there's that.
That's essentially where they are at the moment. But Byrne's right. There's a huge difference. And Claudio, his system was designed to absorb pressure and that created gaps that you could immediately exploit on a counter. It's by design. West Brom is not. West Brom is just like, we're going to get punched in the face and hopefully the fight goes to a draw. Hold on, I've got to go handle. Somebody's looking for the Elf show, and they're going to keep screaming until they get the Elf show.
Yeah, you got to go get the Elf show going.
Yeah, I'll be right back.
Yeah, it's all good.
Stupid Elf on the shelf, I swear.
I thought she just had opinions on Claudio Ranieri.
She does.
Fair.
It's true. Yeah, it's a mess. You want a really funny rumor that has popped up, Jarrett?
Always.
So Chelsea, sorry, Tottenham. It was Tottenham who had the rumor. My bad. Tottenham looking to potentially upgrade, maybe in the summer. There's a certain center back who's been a captain at his club for a long period of time, very long period of time. Some say he's one of the best center backs in the world still, who has not signed a renewal of his contract yet and will be out of contract in the summer. And Jose Mourinho has managed this individual before, and it might bring him to London. Do you know who that might be?
I'm assuming it's my favorite unprosecuted serial killer.
Badger Monardi chimes in. Sergio Ramos is not coming to Spurs. I don't think he is either, but that rumor popped up, and I got a good laugh out of it. He hasn't signed a new deal at Real Madrid yet, though.
Well, why would he go to Spurs?
I wouldn't. Unless he really enjoyed hanging out with Jose Mourinho. Yeah, did he really enjoy Jose's company that much?
No.
Sergio Ramos breaking arms and legs in the Premier League.
That's the question. What is Sergio's tax situation? Because anyone who leaves Spain, that's the first question you need to ask. Is the tax man coming?
That's a good point.
Because the tax man in Spain is undefeated. League champion.
Pretty good.
MVP.
This actually, it also raises the question: what does it look like transferring to England from an EU nation after January 1st?
That's gonna have to get sorted.
Well, no, he would qualify because of his time with Spain. Like the way they've talked about it, it sounds like maybe the work permit issue is going to be a little trickier. For somebody like him, it won't be. It's going to be those guys that you would have got before that you would have got through who have like one cap for their national team or something. Mm-hmm. You're not getting those anymore. That's going to be where it gets tricky. You're not going to see those guys coming in from Kosovo and smaller nations, and it's just not going to happen. And that's going to change the Premier League a little bit. Be interesting to see how all that plays out. I don't think we really know. I mean, you throw that into the mix with clubs not having money to spend, clubs having to get rid of guys before they can bring guys in. I don't know. I mean, that's across Europe too, because it's going to affect on the other side as well, potentially. Let's get into one of the rumors that's out there about our good friends in Barcelona. And it has nothing to do with Lionel Messi. And be very careful about some of the things that you saw today from Spain, because it is like the April Fool's Day of Spain, as Kevin Egan told us on the show this morning. And that was where the Gerard Piqué is going to run for president thing in Barcelona came up. Fooled me, because I didn't know that was the day in Spain. I know of the Dia de los Inocentes in Mexico, and I didn't know it was a Spanish thing too. So caught me this morning. Luckily, we didn't go into it in any kind of detail. But at Barcelona, and this is according to reports from Diario Sport, Ronald Koeman has already drawn up a list of players who could be leaving in January, because they got to move guys out before they can bring guys in. They want to bring in Wijnaldum potentially in January. It probably wouldn't be till the end of the year. Eric Garcia's name keeps coming up from Manchester City. Memphis Depay's name keeps coming up from Ronald Koeman. Samuel Umtiti is one who could be on the way out. He hasn't played. He doesn't fit. That could be a sale. Junior Firpo could be a loan. Carlos Elena could be a loan. And Ricky Puig could be a loan. And Ronald Koeman not happy with Ricky Puig. But Ricky has been linked in Italy and in the Italian media with a possible loan to Milan. What do you think, Nick?
Oh, yeah? Is that happening?
That's what the reports in Italia are saying. Now,
I'm very nervous now because I feel like this team has such fantastic chemistry. If you see any of the Instagram stories that are coming out of any of the Milan players, after every game, they're chanting, they're singing, they're on the train singing and chanting, they're on the field chanting, they're in the locker room. Zlatan is calling himself Santa Claus. They said, somebody asked him, Zlatan, what do you want for Christmas? He's like, I'm too old for Christmas gifts. I have 2 kids in Sweden and 25 in Milan.
Nice.
So
that's pretty good.
So, there's a fantastic chemistry. There's something very special with this team. And I am very concerned about bringing anyone into that now. So as long as they used to say in the Milan heyday, when Mr. Rex is coming, and as long as Mr. Rex knows his role and shuts his mouth and sings the songs that he's supposed to sing when he's supposed to sing them and does what he's supposed to do on the pitch, I have no problems with it. But if you come in and mess up that chemistry, then I'm just going to let my boy Zlatan Bruce Lee cross kick you in the face and transfer you right out of town.
Arsenal are also linked to Ricky Puig, according to some of the media. I've got another one for you. I don't know if you saw this one. There was a survey of Serie A coaches asking who was going to win the title. Mm-hmm. And this was from Ita Sport Press, who did this. Okay. 16 out of the 20 coaches replied to the questions. So not all of them replied. Mm-hmm. Out of the 16 who replied, 11 said that Inter was the favorite to win the title. Mm-hmm. Mihailovic of Bologna, Prandelli of Fiorentina, Ranieri chose not to give their answers. So I think there's one more.
Prandelli decided not to give his answer?
They did not give an answer. They did not respond to the survey. The coaches who voted for Inter were Gasparini, Pippo Inzaghi, Di Francesco, mm-hmm. Simone Inzaghi, Pioli, Gattuso, Liverani, De Zerbi, Gianpaolo, Gotti, and Ivan Juric.
Well, you know it's wrong because Gianpaolo picked him.
The only two named other clubs to win the Scudetto. Stroppa of Crotone picked Milan, former Milan player. And Vincenzo Italiano of Spezia went for Juventus.
In the winter months, as the weather in Italy starts turning in November from like heavy rains, heavy flooding, to especially in the northern provinces, turning more to snow and just really nasty. That Conti system can thrive in that. It's going to be stable. You're not going to have a lot of structural gaps on the defense. They're not going to be exposed often. And as long as Lukaku is able to keep doing what he's doing, I can't find too much fault in that. Inter is a team that has the talent available to them. They have the coaching when Conte's not outthinking himself in seven-dimensional chess. But at the same time, Conte's his own worst enemy. That Inter side's age is their worst enemy, and they are one or two injuries or a few COVID infections away from being completely out of the race. So Milan has weathered those storms so far, injury storms, COVID storms. They have, as long as that chemistry can keep going, I see no problem with Milan riding it out the rest of the way. But I think there's this very, very strong argument that Inter could do this. Inter, again, was my pick at the preseason to win Serie A. There's no way. I don't think there's any way that Juve is going to be able to put together a string of results that allow them to jump Inter or Milan. I just don't think that's going to happen. I think Pirlo's getting found out. His 172 point thesis that he put together, great. I think if he's a visionary, and they say he's a visionary, wonderful. I honestly, truly hope that he is every bit as advertised, because Italy needs more visionary managers. That being said, you can be a prodigy and still be thrown into the deep end too early. And I think he's in the deep end too early. It just is what it is.
But wasn't that the idea? Like they wanted to build something as opposed to just keep mining at the same thing they've been mining at for so long. Right. They knew it might take a step back, so they were willing to do that trade off. Yeah,
and I'm fine with that.
Yeah,
but a lot of Juventini are not feeling that way. They're like, oh well. How much longer are we going to have to keep doing this? Well, buddy, this is what you signed on for.
Mm-hmm.
And you wanted Pirlo to come in. You wanted, a change. You wanted to get away from the old ways. You wanted Maurizio Sarri out, which was a stupid decision, but okay. Mm-hmm. And so you brought in Pirlo, a guy who hadn't managed at all, and threw him into the deep end of the pool. What in God's name did you think was going to happen? Like, you're going to have to make changes. You're going to have to bring in new blood. You cannot keep doing the MacGyver paramedic method to try to keep that squad alive. It's just not happening. And really, they need Delete to step up and become the leader on that back line, because it's not going to happen with Bonucci.
Yeah, it's been slow with him.
Yeah, no, this is who he is. It's like trying to teach, somebody like me or you a second language, trying to learn a second language at 40.
Hey, I'm working on it.
Yeah, you and I both are working on it, but it's not as easy as it is for like my daughter, who I just start throwing different words at her and she starts picking it up. And so she's like walking around now going, grazie, like prego and things like that. Ci vediamo. And so she's picking this stuff up. It happens very quickly when you're younger. Bonucci's out of that window where he can learn a new skill trait or, methodology easily. He's past that. He is who he is. He's a fantastic distributor of the ball from the back line. The best in Serie A at distributing from the back. I will put him easily, in like the top 5 of the world from distributing in the back, especially if you're trying to jump the lines. He can put the ball from back line to forward, little to no trouble at all. But he's not a leader. He cannot marshal a defense. He cannot make changes on the fly to ensure that you're not going to get beat on a counter. He cannot handle pressure overloads. He doesn't know what to do. He loses his head very quickly. That's where Chiellini would save him, because Chiellini would drop back almost into a sweeper role, and any mistakes that Bonucci made would be easily cleaned up. They'd be in a position where Bonucci would slow the man down, allow that half yard of distance to be added to the path of the ball. Chiellini comes in and clears it out. No problem. Chiellini's not doing that anymore because, he's ancient. So you need De Ligt to step up and be that man. The sooner Juventus gets De Ligt to step up and be the man on the back, it's going to happen. The man's already speaking Italian. He's already doing the little things necessary to be able to marshal that. And as long as he remains a good student under Pirlo, he's going to have the opportunities to make that happen. The future is very bright for Juventus, just not this year.
I need your take on this one. This is confusing me a little bit. The more we go down this road. So this report came out in Le Parisien. Now we know that Thomas Tuchel is going to leave PSG. We know that, according to Fabrizio Romano, he gave the here we go. It's Pochettino coming in. Okay. Mm-hmm. Le Parisien said Max Allegri was reportedly the first choice at PSG. He asked for €12 million a season to take over. They said no. Is he just pricing himself out of jobs? Because he's been out of it for a while now, to the point that his name's not coming up as much anymore.
No, what you're seeing is people looking at Juventus and seeing what happened once he left. You're no closer to a Champions League than you were, before, and the results haven't shifted that dramatically. You have a brand new manager, and they're not completely out of the title race. So is it the parts or the man? And when you look at how some players have thrived without him being there, higher price dudes like Dybala, who have managed to come back to life, you have to take that into account. And yeah, I think he is pricing himself out in some ways, but I think in other ways, he is I'm not going to say he's the Italian version of Mourinho, but he might be the Italian version of like early shift Mourinho, when he started getting into the defensive buffoonery. Like, he's a guy who he's not going to take a ton of chances. He's going to make all of your attacking players drop back. They're not going to be in goal-scoring positions. Those numbers are going to drop. He's not a guy who I think a lot of teams look at and say he's a dude who we can build with and who can take us over the hump. He's not a transformative manager. He's a guy you can bring in, plug, and he can keep you at a level. If you really suck, you're probably going to stay at the level. If you're mid-range, you're going to stay mid-range. But he's not going to transform you into something you're not. And I think you'll probably have a better chance of that transformation with Pochettino, even though he's won no trophies, than you would with a guy like our boy there. But I just don't think that that's the case. It's sad because he went to England. He was trying to learn English because he thought he was going to get the Man U job. It didn't happen. And then there are all these other jobs that came up that Allegri's name was kicked around with, and it was like, no.
Yeah, it's just never really serious. Like, it doesn't feel like there's ever much thought about him getting back into it, and he should. I mean, he's it's not like he's done poorly. It's just it's almost like he's waited too long at this point.
Yes, I think that's exactly what it is. I think he's waited too long, and it's giving people enough time to do their due diligence and say, oh, is he a transformative guy, the guy who can elevate us? No. Look at Juventus. What has Juventus done without him? Not terribly different. Okay, let's examine some other candidates. And that, coupled with his price point, is probably taking him out of the running. And I think he's going to end up back in Italy. Italian managers end up back in Italy.
Right.
The lifestyle is too good. The culture fit is too strong. And he's going to end up back there. And
it makes sense.
I think Carlo Ancelotti is the one guy who I thought would have ended up at Roma by now, who would have gone back to Italy, and that he has not is a little shocking to me. But I mean, that he may have worked something out with De Laurentiis to keep him from coming back, to release him from that Napoli contract.
Well.
But yeah, Allegri's going to end up back in Italy. I wouldn't be shocked if Conte leaves. He's going to end up at Inter. If Inzaghi leaves Lazio, he'll end up at Lazio.
Yeah.
It'll be a blue blood Italian club, but he'll be back there.
That makes sense. Well, we got some news out of Costa Rica, which is kind of funny. Everybody's excitement about Jurgens Montenegro of Alajuelense. TD Mas, which is one of the leading sports outlets in Costa Rica, tweeted out, the trip of Jurgens Montenegro to Atlanta was to extend his contract with his representation, his agency, that is based in Atlanta, and it was not to sign with Atlanta United. You know, that first report, you might want to cross that guy off of the Tier 1 list out of Costa Rica. Just saying. Just saying. Yes.
That's a long way to go for an agent re-signing. That's all I'm saying.
I mean, your season's done. Why not?
Global pandemic?
He's
And
wearing a mask in the picture.
They have virtual sign. Any sales rep that's listening to this broadcast right now knows that you could send a contract and get it done virtual sign and have it done.
So you're saying that TD Moss it might not be correct. You're going black helicopter.
I'm not going black helicopter. As someone who works at an organization with a large sales staff, I can tell you that we have been executing contracts all year long via virtual sign. Not one time has a contract been signed in person this year. And if you are an agent who says, come on up to Atlanta, sign it, we'll take a pretty photo, you're a moron. And your client is a moron for doing business with somebody who had you jump on a plane out of Costa Rica, leave that beautiful weather to fly
I'd go
up
to Costa
to a
Rica
cold
and take the
and
papers
wet
with me.
place to take a picture. That's stupid. At a hotel that, by the way, is right over at the King and Queen building over in Dunwoody. Come on, stop that mess. There's more to it than that. He's going to re-sign there, and then there's probably some face-to-face negotiations taking place somewhere, hopefully in a large room with social distancing.
So now Fabien Bourbon, who had the initial report, has responded. This could be fun. This could really get interesting. So an Alajuelense fan said that Fabien Bourbon, this is all on Twitter, this is all public, he tagged Fabien Bourbon in the TD Moss report and said that Fabien saw that the ticket said Atlanta, said that goes for the team result, and he posted a clown emoji. Fabien came in, and Fabien Bourbon works for, I think, a few different outlets in Costa Rica, but Teletica Deportes, which is another one of the big ones. Right. Fabien tweeted, I remain firm in what I publish. Give it time. This is what happened with Johan Venegas. They even made the representative say, no, that's not what he was here for, but he was. And Fabien said, I am not to publish, translated, I am not to publish without any kind of foundation or looking for likes. So Fabien's standing by his story.
Look, it's not like a guy from Costa Rica is going to sit there and say, well, you know what? I want to see what winter's like. Let me go to Atlanta to see what winter's like. No. What are you going to do? You're going to go to, like, New York. You're going to go to Canada. You're going to go – oh, Canada's shut down. You're going to go to, like, Minnesota, someplace, that receives, like, that thing, called large amounts of snow. We're not going to go to a place where it snowed, like, 2 days ago. It's already melted. It's largely wet. It's, like, 50 degrees, between 40 to 50 degrees and cold for an agent signing. That's the stupidest thing. That agent should be fired for negligence for coming up with that stupid excuse. Why was my player in Atlanta? We conduct business at a global scale at our agency on a regular basis. And that means sometimes having conversations with many different parties. We look forward to continuing these conversations at a different time. That's all we have to comment. But right now, we are thrilled that we are re-signing this wonderful player to our agency and look forward to many bright years of income earning potential from this fantastic grade 1 athlete that everyone needs to be talking to. That needs to be the release. Don't sit there and say that we flew him up here for just this stupid photo. Moron.
No, nobody said anything about they flew him up here for a photo. Nope. The agency hasn't said anything.
But sometimes things are said in the absence of words. But when you say, "Oh, well, he's not here to talk to anybody. He's here for resigning."
They haven't said that. Nope, the agency hasn't said that. That's what TD Moss, the outlet in Costa Rica, has said based off of pictures that have been posted. That's
who came up with that idea?
What? Just posting the pictures?
Who came up with that idea at that outlet? Who actually bought that? When you were in the bullpen, kicking around this photo, who said, that move's not happening? He just went up there for the resigning.
I don't know.
Come on.
Stop that. We got Costa Rican outlets yelling at one another without yelling at one another.
Because one believes in common sense and one's an idiot.
Wow. All right.
And I hate when people take garbage and don't even examine it and just pass it off. You have to do a little bit more, because what you're saying is our audience doesn't do critical thinking. When you say that,
I'm not saying that.
Put that out there. I know you're not saying that.
I'm not saying that.
But the Costa Rican outlet that's saying, it's not, he's not talking to Atlanta.
Okay.
Or an MLS team. Come on. Where else would you go then?
Yeah, he could be here to talk to another MLS team. Just his agent is in Atlanta, so it's where he started. That's possible.
Right. Yeah, that's fine. And then they should structure their response in that way, instead of being so like, no.
See, now I'll be very curious to see where this goes. Now I want to see if TD Moss gets called out on this, what they respond with. Good times. Right. Good. Hey, silly season's going to be fun.
TD Moss, don't make me cut a promo on you.
Oh, man.
I'm in a mood. I'll cut a promo. I don't want to do it.
Miguel Herrera kind of cut a promo.
Yeah,
he told Record in Mexico, one of the leading sports outlets there, that his sacking at Club America was unjust.
Was it unjust?
That's what he said.
Really?
Yeah, that's what he said. He said also that he would be interested in the Cruz Azul job, but he hasn't been offered anything yet.
Wow. Hey, look.
Piojo, he ain't messing around. He wants another gig fast.
He wants another, then he needs to apply for that P1 visa and come on up and make his way to MLS. He needs to call DC United and say, DC, what's happening? Let's talk business.
That would be amazing.
And then get them to CONCACAF Champions League and knock Club America out. Which would be hilarious if that happened.
That's why he's saying he wants Cruz Azul. That's why he wants that, because you got crosstown rivalry right there.
Yeah. Hey, if you can get the Cruz Azul job, take the Cruz Azul job.
That's amazing.
But I'm calling, and I get that. The Galaxy are probably going to get Vanny, and that's fine.
I'm wondering why this hasn't happened yet. I'm a little baffled by this at this point.
I think it's control. I think it's a certain amount of control that maybe Vanny wants that they're not willing to give up. Especially after the Bruce years, you're looking at, maybe we want a bit more of a hand on the player and stocking of the cupboard. Not making sure we don't end up with a covered bear situation again. So, but if I'm Herrera, I call up. Look, Galaxy, let's talk.
Toronto? Toronto's lovely.
I'm sure it is. So I'm not going up there for that rebuild.
Get Piojo in Toronto?
Rebuild. Look, I'll do a rebuild in any of the teams where the average temperature exists between 55 and 60 degrees. I'm not doing a rebuild in Toronto. I'm sure Canada's a wonderful place, but I'm not doing a rebuild up there because I can't have ridiculous weather and constant headaches of a rebuild. I can't do that. Oh. That's not.
Man.
My skin's too nice. I can't deal with that. Having that.
More stuff out of Mexico. According to Cesar Luis Merlo, Matias Almeida has rejected an offer from Cruz Azul. He wants to finish his deal with San Jose. Runs through December of 22, so he's got 2 more years at San Jose. And he's reportedly turned down everybody. Club America reportedly reached out. Monterrey had reached out. Now Cruz Azul. Mm-hmm. He's sticking with the Quakes, which is a little bit of a surprise. Club America starts. But I want to see what happens this year because Almeida made it kind of clear that it's like, this has been fun, this has been good, but I need a little bit of extra help. I need a little more talent to work with here. I can't keep pulling rabbits out of my hat. I can only do so much. And is he going to get that? I don't know.
Well, he needs to.
He needs to get something.
He needs to get the help. There have been enough flashes with that San Jose team that show you that if you invest in this man, he's going to turn you into something special.
Yeah.
And it's not a situation like I wouldn't have invested resources with Ben Olsen. I wouldn't have been I'm sorry. No. But somebody like Almeida, I would probably have invested some resources with just because it provides, he's shown you. Uh-oh. What do we have?
Uh-oh. Shenanigans.
Yeah? Okay. Apparently there's a dish scrubber that's being presented to me right now.
Well, that's very nice.
Let's see.
They're very useful.
Flip the dish scrubber.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Good dish scrubber right there. All right. Go take it in there. All right. No, don't scrub over there. You scrub in there. Okay. All right.
Good times. It's okay. Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. It's all good. You all right there, buddy? Nick will be back with us in a minute. Some other updates from South America. America de Cali won their 15th league title in Colombia last night over Santa Fe. They had a 3-0 lead. In the first leg, they had to go to Santa Fe. In the second leg, they gave up 2 goals in the first half. It was looking a little dicey. One of their assistant coaches got sent off in the first half, and 6 minutes into the game, the manager was holding on to not like we see very religious people in these kinds of moments with a necklace or something small that they're holding on to with a cross. This guy had a cross that was over a foot tall, and it was like a large figurine or something that first he had on the ground next to his technical area. Then towards the end of the game, he's like clutching it. And then at the very end, after they did hold on and get the win, he's rolling around on the ground like clutching this thing like a newborn baby. Insanity. Santa Fe had all these chances late. They couldn't get it done. So America de Cali's one championship off of having the most in Colombia. It was a really fun watch last night. So the Colombian League is done. We've talked about the drama in Argentina with Racing. Sebastian Becasese says, I'm out. The guy who hired me is out, so I'm out too. He brought me here. I'm leaving with him. He's going to finish out the current Copa season. His team won 6-1 for him over the weekend, and a meaningless game, but still, I think that shows how they feel about him. So he's not going to be back. Who's going to replace him? Somebody that we have seen up close in Major League Soccer, Guillermo Barros Escaloto, is the favorite of the fans of Racing to take over. Yeah, that face was my face when I saw this.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, sure, I guess.
Yeah, that's kind of how I felt. That's from Teise. The fans of Racing want Schelotto.
Yeah, you're wanting a ghost. You're wanting what was.
Yep.
Look, we can go down the list of musicians and athletes who used to be great, but they're not now because something has changed. Be it time, their abilities have faltered. They got found out. Schelotto is a guy who there was a great debate for a while here in Atlanta. This is the guy we want. This is the guy who can take over for Tata. He has MLS experience. He understands. And he got to LA and he laid the fattest egg. I mean, it was just a disaster. And I get that LA team was not exactly what we would call talent rich. But it didn't even look like they had a coherent game plan in general, much less like, there's some teams that you look at and you're like, hey, look, if he had one or two extra players, they'd be something special. That's not the case here. They were just like, you need to blow this thing up and burn it to the ground and maybe never speak of it again. If you're a Racing supporter and you want that at your club, good luck.
I don't think it's a good idea.
Nope.
Hernan Crespo's name has come up, potentially leaving Defensa and going there, and that would make a lot of sense. Sebastian Becasese had success at Defensa. Hernan Crespo, kind of a similar style of play. I think he's one of the up-and-coming young managers. Becasese is too. That would make a lot of sense. It'd be a step up for Crespo to go from Defensa over there. Crespo didn't really do that well at Bonfield in his first big job. He's done amazing at Defensa. He's got them in the semifinals of the Copa Sudamericana. And it's a fun team to watch, and he'd have a whole lot more talent to work with. We got to talk about the Grandes in Argentina, though, because things are about to get real for Boca and River.
Hold up, real?
Real.
Pretty real.
The Super Clasico of 2021, January 2nd at 7:30, the first time we get Boca and River, just 2 days into the new year. Then, a couple days later, they both start their semifinal matches in the Copa Libertadores. If they get past their Brazilian opponents, it would be a Copa Libertadores final in Rio at the Maracanã between Boca and River. Ooh.
If you're Brazil, you need to go ahead and lock the border.
Just in case?
Just lock it down, lock the border, engage all defenses. Just have everything, set traps, have tanks on like the blocking the roadways. That's the only way you're going to stop the supporters from coming in, because they're going to go. But oh my God, a final yet again between.
They got to get past their semifinals, and they're not going to be easy. River's got Palmeiras. Boca's got Santos, and I'm pulling for Boca so big against Santos after their pettiness over this Lionel Messi Pelé thing.
Oh, you calling that pettiness?
That's absurdity. That is some total buffoonery, as Nick Alifi would say.
It's not complete buffoonery.
It's buffoonery.
It is their pillar. It is the pillar.
He scored 440 goals in friendlies, including against a team from Suriname, and you're saying they don't matter? That's a joke.
You have a team in Brazil who like most South American teams, have felt like the European sides believe they are infinitely superior. And
it's got nothing to do with that nonsense.
And so Santos has to carve out their corner and say, hold up, before you erase us off the grid with your Argentine wizard there.
We had to play this team from Suriname in a friendly. FIFA said it was okay.
Was hanging far more goals than you give them credit for. It was actually 1,000 goals.
It was friendlies when they're touring around playing random teams at times. It's not a real game. Nobody counts those.
Okay. So you and I may be in agreement on this, but for Santos, you are attacking their legacy.
I am attacking their legacy because they're ruining their legacy with this madness.
Well, because look, you want to back your Argentine compatriot.
Oh,
you want to back
Argentina.
Your man. I'm just saying, you want to back your man.
That's what we're doing
Messi,
here. Okay, we're going to go down that road.
I'm just saying, You want to back him? That's cool. But the Brazilians, that natural rivalry, are not going to let that. Look, the Brazilians are not going to let. They've already, in their minds, just had to deal with enough slander of people saying Messi's the GOAT. Messi's better than Pele.
He scored more goals in league games. It's just that simple.
And so the Brazilians are not going to stand idly by and let anyone else come and swipe at their legend. They're not. They're drawing a line in the sand.
Boca 10-0 over Santos for this buffoonery. 10-0.
They've taken
Run up the
white
score.
glove off. They've taken it off like this and said, I challenge you to a duel. That's what they're doing right now by saying this. They're challenging Messi. You better score, what is it, 600 more goals.
Yeah, first off, if you're going to do this game, actually go in and do the math on how many goals Messi scored in friendlies.
That's true.
Because you're playing a silly game here. I mean, Burns right. Santos played friendlies all over the place in that area. Pele scored 3 goals at Atlanta Stadium. Okay, it was in a friendly against the Atlanta Chiefs. They were playing They were playing the Cleveland Stokers and the whatevers, the Kansas City Spurs and the Atlanta Chiefs, and they didn't count for anything. It's not a league game.
Well, I understand that, but what and for anyone out there in the Twitch pitch who's coming at me about this, I will simply say that the Brazilians are doing what any other team would do. That if there was a team in Colombia and a player scored 1,500 goals and they said it's the greatest player ever, he did this, Barcelona would be immediately.
No, they wouldn't.
Well, actually,
no, they wouldn't. They're not going to start totaling up. They don't even have a record of how many goals Lionel Messi scored in friendlies. They don't care. I
guarantee you, if somebody did it, they would, or if the Portuguese said, Ronaldo.
No, Ronaldo's not going to stay at a club long enough to break that record.
Well, no, he's not.
No, we already know that.
But again, these countries, especially Brazil, where Pele was considered to be so vital to the Brazilian economy and the way of life that he was not allowed to leave the country. They are going to carve out their place and defend their turf.
Buffoonery.
You can't blame them for that.
I can't blame them.
Their argument is. The argument's stupid. We can agree on this because they're counting friendlies and nobody counts friendlies. Good Lord. I mean,
buffoonery.
I don't blame them, no. They got to do it.
Hey,
it's their last gasp.
Hey,
last
Santos.
gasp of holding on to greatness. It's the last gasp. They've been holding on to the coattails of Pele for so long. Like, oh, no, don't leave us. The Argentine midget's going to take everything and we can't have anything. That's what they don't want. And they're mad because this Lionel Messi, who is a space alien, has scored all these goals in ridiculous fashion. They don't like that. You think any Brazilian wants their heroes to be eclipsed by Argentine players? No, absolutely not. They will get super stabby about that. They have no.
They're whining and crying. They're not even
they're whining and crying.
They're not even getting stabby. Santos, here you go. That's what you get. Buffoons.
I understand the hustle, Santos. I understand the hustle. I get it.
Boca
it's
10-0.
Stupid, but I get it.
Boca 10-0 over Santos. River plays Palmeiras, who, remember Palmeiras, that's a club that Gabriel Heinze said, nah, I'm good. I like this other job that I've been offered that we didn't know at the time, but now we know. Yeah, I like this other one. They wear red and black stripes, and it's in another country. I think I'm going to go there. I know you're a team that's now in the Copa Libertadores semifinals. It's pretty good. I'm going to go over here.
Because Gabriel Heinze wants to be employed for more than 90 days.
There's also that. That is definitely true.
It doesn't matter. There's no manager in the world who could survive there for a long period of time unless you have deep connections. There's no way in the world.
There's a really good piece over at the Coach's Voice about that came out today. Definitely recommend it. it hurts the Brazilian game so much. The mentality, the short-term mentality. I mean, you can't build anything. You have to get results no matter what. And you play 900 games a year because you're in a state league, a city league, a county league, a national league, a cup, another cup over here, a Gummy Bear Cup over there, Copa Libertadores. You're playing a game every 3 days. And you can't build anything. And if you lose 2, you're fired. It's a bad way to live.
Yeah, when people have these conversations about the level of talent that's coming out of Brazil now, and why in the 90s it seemed like there was some new superstar who was coming out every 10 minutes. I think a large part of the challenge there is the turnover in coaching that's happening. That no one has time to do anything. No one has time to develop anything. We have this raw talent. We're going to throw them on a field, and whatever happens, and we're going to fire the guy into the game anyway. So whatever, who cares? I feel like it's drunk technical direction, and they can't. It is. It's like
it kind of is.
It seems like a show
that would explain
be on
it
A&E. Like it's like, hey, we got this
drunk
Guy?
GM.
Yeah, all right. So we're gonna play this guy, and then we're gonna fire him. How about that? Okay. The online poll comes in. You get to call in and say which manager you want fired this week, and they put out the little flame thing like Survivor. I mean, come on. It says more to me about Gabriel Heinze that he walked away from what could be considered a premier job to come here because he wants none of that mess.
No,
and
he wants
so
to
that.
work.
I actually salute him because that's the wise decision.
Okay, I want to start a campaign on soccer over there.
Okay,
it's a very important campaign. Player that I think we all pretty much know and love, Keisuke Honda, legend, right? Legend, fair.
Okay,
Japanese legend.
Legend, sure.
Okay,
played for Milan for a minute.
Yep, he is asked to leave Botafogo, where he's been playing in Brazil. His contract ends at the end of the season. He's asked to be able to go. Now, here's the campaign. He's played in Asia, played in Japan. Mm-hmm. He's played in Europe with Milan, 81 games at Milan. He's played in the Netherlands as well. He played for CSKA Moscow. He has played in North America with Pachuca. Spent a season there. He has played in Australia with Melbourne Victory. And now he's played at Botafogo in South America. There's one continent left that he has not played on for a club, Africa. Keisuke Honda has to play for an African club before he retires. He'd have to be the only player who's ever done that.
Call up Kaiser Chiefs and make it happen.
Yeah, I'm down. Keisuke Honda to Kaiser Chiefs. I'm in. I'll buy the jersey.
I think that's something. I think that's worthwhile.
Yeah, this is a campaign that needs to happen. He needs to play for an African club. Because
I think
I just can't imagine that nobody's ever done that.
Anything as close to that? Isn't like Romario's the only one who's like even remotely close to that? Is it Romario or Rivaldo who played it like until he was essentially like 55 years old?
Well, Romario played for a long time. He played for not the Miami FC, but Miami FC before they were the Miami FC. Seeing Romario beat the Silverbacks at Silverbacks Park was a highlight because I think he might have taken 10 steps during the match, but he still scored the winning goal at the end. So Romario, let's see, what did he get? So he had Brazil, so he had South America, he had Europe, he had North America with Miami FC. He played 4 games for Adelaide United. Okay, so he's got Australia. What else did he have? He had Al Sadd. That's in Qatar. So he got.
That's technically Asia.
Okay, he didn't get Africa. That's the one he missed out on.
That's it.
He came close. Didn't do it.
Honda, you got to go to Kaiser Chiefs, buddy.
Badger saying as long as he doesn't play for the Orlando Pirates, which I can fully support. Can't have that. I do have an Orlando Pirates jacket that's pretty boss, though. It's got like skull and crossbones like sublimated into it.
Oh,
it's pretty awesome. Sweet.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah, it was a gift from our Soccer in the Streets crew who went and took a team to play in South Africa during that World Cup in a street soccer tournament. So it's pretty cool. I'm a Kaiser Chiefs guy myself because, they did kind of rip off the Atlanta Chiefs logo, and one of their players name the team after them. So, kind of have to do that.
Yeah.
Kaiser Moto.
So what can we do? What do we need to do? Do we need to start a?
I guess we need to start a hashtag.
Okay, let's start a hashtag.
So we need to be careful about this because if we just start doing a hashtag with Honda, people are going to think we're talking about cars.
Yeah, it could lead to sponsorship opportunities.
It could. And are we sure we want him to go to Kaiser Chiefs? Is that the one we're going to pick?
I would say that. Yes.
Is that where we're going to settle?
That's where I would suggest.
I'm
yes.
fine with this. I'm fine. So we want to send Keisuke Honda to Kaiser Chiefs. All right, we need to start a hashtag. We'll leave that up to the listeners to work on this campaign because it has to be crowdfunded, of course.
Right.
It has to be organic, of course. We're just asking you to do it, please. Badger, I do wonder if the Kaiser Chiefs fans chant OFYO. I do wonder that. Maybe they should.
We need to get on the horn with someone from Kaiser Chiefs and find out what's going on.
They could borrow something from Atlanta again.
Yeah. See, hey, look, guys, we can't help but notice your logo and name, and we know the historical significance of those. We have something else to offer you.
Listen to this. That would be amazing.
It would just be like two different continents, the same expression on the receiving end, like the same stink face.
Here's another thing on Romario for you, since you sent me down the rabbit hole. He scored his 1,000th goal playing for Vasco da Gama. It was a penalty. The Brazilian press, of course, claimed him as one of the few players in professional football history to achieve 1,000 goals. Now, not all with the same club, because Romario played for like every club on the planet. Pelé, they gave 1,000 goals to with all these friendly goals, which was never the stupid thing that Messi won anyway. That's not what they said anyway.
But again,
it's absurd.
They're gonna carve out the territory for their man.
So that's what this says right here. There is some controversy over the validity of the 1,000 goals for Romario because the number is somewhat inaccurate, and Romario's research team also counted his goals in junior, friendly, and non-official games. It's like he scored a goal for a school team once. Give it to him.
Can I count the goals I scored in Kennesaw State recreational futsal?
Yes.
God,
and Nick's video froze at like just the perfect point. That is amazing.
And I think Jason would be surprised to know how many goals I scored in recreational futsal.
In recreational futsal?
We had at Kennesaw State for 1 credit. Usually classes ran like 3 credits.
You got a credit for playing recreational futsal?
Yes. The teacher
I went to the wrong college, man.
Yeah, seriously, I'm somewhat insulted by this.
You could do class was usually 3 credits, but they had sports activity classes that were 1 credit, and I just needed to like fill up my schedule, and I wanted the extra credit and whatever. I had the free blocks. I was like, yeah, I'll do it. And my then girlfriend, now wife, did it with me, and almost broke my foot in the middle of the game. She's the meanest defender I've ever met in my life.
What's her ethnic origin again?
She is Scottish. Well, she's an American. Like she's from Smyrna, just like the same area I am. Not far. We're not actually born far away from each other, but her lineage is Scottish.
All right, there we go.
It all makes sense.
But yeah, we played futsal, and the woman who taught the class, like at one point, was apparently like a goalkeeper coach with one of the youth national teams, U.S.
All right, there we go.
I forgot her name. She was hilarious. It was amazing. I actually scored more goals than Jason would probably ever believe because he's seen me kick a ball.
Yeah, it was. I mean, that's some bogus nonsense in non-official games. Doesn't count
the
for
goals,
anything.
Jarrett. If it went into the net, you count it.
No. Actually, one of them was actually a pretty goal too.
Sure.
Like I could never recreate it if I tried. I mishit it, and I mishit it. I tried to hit it with the laces and hit it with the inside of my foot because I wasn't paying attention, and basically just like bent it into the side netting. Nothing about it was intentional, and it was beautiful.
I'm just going to leave that
and
alone.
I guarantee you somebody else came up to him and said, "You should play professionally. That was great."
Oh, no, God, no.
No,
we had one guy there.
There are limits.
We had one guy there who was Russian playing. We had a couple guys who were Caribbean. That was like one of my first experiences playing with guys from the Caribbean and how hard they played. Like, oh my God. Like one guy was from Trinidad, I think. And he was hitting you like it was a rugby game. He's the nicest guy in the world, but when the game on, he was trying to kill you.
Yep.
Man, if when COVID is no longer a thing, and you live in the metropolitan Atlanta area, and you get a chance to find out where the Caribbean League's playing, go watch some of those games.
Yeah, it's a good time.
Don't play. Just go and watch.
Yeah, you're not playing in that league. It's a good league.
Yeah, they're very good, and the challenges are stuff that would be featured on Taise, guaranteed.
Sean Johnson got his real start playing in the Caribbean League. When he was playing club ball and he was playing in high school, where he probably really got good was in the Caribbean League. Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you don't want any part of that.
No, that's high on the list of guys I'm not going to swear up on.
You want no part of it. So I got to finish this buffoonery about Romario because now I'm angry with Brazilians and the way they count goals. I'm really, really ticked off about this. So he reportedly in 2007 scores his 1,000th goal to the point that they stopped the game for 20 minutes to have all these celebrations and nonsense and ridiculousness. So that FIFA congratulated Romario on the goal, and then they said, yeah, but you only got 929 goals. You don't have 1,000. Then another statistical body, RSSSF, said that he's got 968 goals in 1,188 games. In 2008, a couple years after, about a year after this, Romario releases a DVD with the best goals of his career. And I guess he tried to have all the goals in his career. There were only 900 goals on the disc. Now, that's a lot of goals on a DVD, by the way. But anyway, they do a statue for him for his 1,000th goal.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody knows how many goals this guy had. They're counting all kinds of madness. It's ridiculous.
What do you expect?
I expect some actual record keeping. If you're going to start claiming records, keep the records.
All I'm saying, look, we have established...
They can't keep records accurately in official matches. What do you expect in this?
That's also true. Then don't come claiming these things when you're making these big proclamations about, well, you're not counting the friendly we played against Transvaal from Suriname because it wasn't Real Madrid. It's like, yeah, that's pretty much literally what they're saying because you don't play official games against Transvaal from Suriname. Barcelona does play official games against Real Madrid. It has nothing to do with the team being from Suriname. It's the fact you didn't play them in official competition. Bums. I don't like Santos anymore. I'm mad.
Oh,
wow.
God, because they're
Jason's like going to be banned from Brazil.
Because they're defending a legend?
Because they're being buffoons about defending a legend.
No, they're being Brazilians about this. They're defending their turf. Talk to any.
That part's true.
Talk to any MMA fan who has ever tried to say anything positive.
That part's absolutely true.
Fighters outside of Brazil, and you will get the exact same thing you're getting now. When you talk about Kazushi Sakuraba of Japan, and I know I just lost like half of our audience by bringing that name up, because they're like, who the heck is this dude even talking? Go YouTube Kazushi Sakuraba's fights against the Gracies, and then do a little digging on what their response was to this, to him, because he got the nickname the Gracie Hunter. They ended up launching Gracie after Gracie after Gracie. Like Helio Gracie's great grandkids ended up challenging Sakuraba when he was like 50 years old to get revenge on the fact that he was the Gracie Hunter in his days.
Is this like a Bloodsport sequel we haven't filmed?
It needs to be done. It's amazing. It's imagine the movie Creed, where like the younger Creed actually goes against Ivan Drago himself, right? That's what this is. It's the culture itself. Like if you go into the early days of the Gracie Jiu-Jitsu family, and some of the old Vale Tudo days, all those records are so hazy, man. It's like who's this fighter?
He 5 fights in a day.
Yeah, he fought 15 times in a day. He got 400 victories. Like, hold up, how many of those are official? Like, doesn't matter. It's the story. That's what we're going to run with. And so that's what you're running into. It's a story culture. There's a story. Like, Pele scored 1,000 goals. It wasn't official. Bro, that's what we're running with.
Then don't argue it. That's all. Just don't argue it anymore. Just stop. Keep your 1,000 goals for all these guys.
Charlie Sheen's fight in the opening scene of Hot Shots Part 2.
There you go.
As official fights now.
There you go.
Exactly.
Hey, look. If it goes into in the world of boxing, it's the same way with smokers, right? And when you have smokers, for those who don't know what smokers are, in the old days, you would have these like a boxing ring set up in a location. There would be a low ceiling, and they'd have fight after fight after fight after fight. And so all these old dudes with cigars, and all the smoke would be really low hanging from the ceiling. They called them smokers. And there are people who don't count smokers as official fights, even though you had dudes getting knocked out, their teeth, faces caved in. So you have two schools of thought. One is that the smokers don't count, and the other group that says the smokers do count, even though it's not technically a WBA, WBC, or IBF championship fight. What are you going to count? So I have no problem with the Brazilians doing this. I count smokers as real fights. I count, if somebody tells me some dude fought 400 times, that's fine. Just don't send your 27-year-old great grandkid after a 50-year-old.
But here's the thing. This is what frustrates me. Is nobody has said that Lionel Messi has scored more goals than anybody else on the planet. What they have said is that Lionel Messi scored more goals in official competition for one club than anybody else on the planet, which is 100% accurate.
In official competitions. Make sure
that's it. That's what they said.
Okay. So you're trying to cut the shine of one of the greatest to ever do it.
No. His number that he did in official competition, Lionel Messi in official competition has scored more. It's really that simple.
Does Argentina and Brazil really get along?
No.
And in the world of soccer, do they get along at all?
No.
Do they take everything personally?
Probably.
Okay. That's what's happening. You cut the shine by even merely mentioning.
I didn't say I don't understand it. I said it's stupid. It's very different.
Oh, come on. You don't understand blood oaths and vendettas.
I totally understand this nonsense. But at least make a valid argument about it instead of the whole thing that drove me nuts.
Is you can't be valid and rational about it when you're doing this. It's just
Jason's too rational. That's the problem.
That's the problem because I'm insulted by their line about, well, you're not taking a game against Transvaal seriously because it's not Real Madrid. It's like, well, yeah, kind of actually that's true because it's not an official game. You played a friendly against a team from Suriname. Good for you. Barcelona's played friendlies against random teams too. That has nothing to do with it.
So what should we send all of those goalkeepers then?
All of the ones that Messi scored in friendlies?
Yeah.
So if you sent Budweiser to official ones, yeah. I mean, what's Budweiser's nasty nonsense stuff? They have. I mean, would it be Bud Ice? We sending Bud Ice
or whatever.
Oh, it's the Limerita. Yeah, we're sending the Limeritas to the goalkeepers in the friendlies for sure.
I think I had one of those the night of the Atlanta United logo reveal.
Nope.
The night I actually met Jason.
Nope. Well, that would explain a lot. Actually, I can blame it on the Limerita. Is that what you're telling me?
Yeah.
Jeez.
You can trace everything back to a Limerita.
That's frightening. Yeah,
that was all they had there. Really, I mean, it was like I wanted something other than like water, or like I don't even think they had like a Heineken, like an MLS sponsored Heineken or something.
Yeah,
they had Limeritas there.
I had the Heineken
and the mango Limeritas too.
That's what we're going to discover when somebody's going to go digging, and they're going to find a video of some intern at an archaeological dig. accidentally spilling a Limerita into some mummy's tomb, and that's what got 2020.
Yeah.
You spilled the Limerita. Had you spilled anything else, you've been all right. Had you spilled a little bit of Jack Daniels, hey, 2020 might have been all right. But no, you spilled Limerita.
You were drinking
and
Limeritas on the job.
I mean, it could have been worse. Somebody
tomb.
could have spilled like Hypnotic.
Ooh.
I don't know about that.
Somebody spilled some Hennessy on a mummy. And
Oh, now that would have been a good year.
That would've been all right.
Yeah, I mean,
All right.
Speaking, going back to your boxing analogy, could you imagine if we had 3 legitimate governing bodies in soccer, like 2 more alongside
Oh my
FIFA,
God.
trying to regulate the sport in some way, shape, or form?
You're almost getting there with UEFA and this reported Super League that now Alexander Seferin's like, yeah, Florentino Perez, you're talking nonsense.
The undefeated UEFA, CONCACAF, and CONMEBOL champion of the world. I mean, that's we're not far away
Michael
from
Bufford
that.
is actually going to sue our show now.
Well, no,
If you
I did
say
not
the
drop
magic
the
words.
tagline.
Yeah, he didn't-
Yeah, if you say the magic
tagline.
words,
He didn't.
Michael Buffer.
He didn't.
Behind
Nobody
you.
heard anything.
That if
Yeah,
you say any of the if you say the magic words, it is, especially in that voice.
That ain't true!
I've been told several times.
Didn't
do
happen.
that.
Don't do that. But yeah, the ultimate move would be if UEFA was like, hey, we're going to move the Euros to the same calendar as the World Cup. Come at us.
That would be nuts. If they do Superliga and the Superliga Championship, the Superliga Super Bowl Championship is on the same day as the UEFA final.
Madness. It's all going to be stupid.
It's like a $70 million purse.
Good God. It's like,
So
hey,
wrap.
who won Champions League? Yeah, because Bayern Munich and Real Madrid were busy playing the Super Cup.
That's it.
In the Super Cup.
It's the U17s of Norway versus the U17s of Liechtenstein in the UEFA Championship.
It's going to legitimately go back and look at the 1960s and 70s European Cup, what is now Champions League. Go back and look at
Cup
the
Winners'
group
Cup.
draws and the teams that were in there. Like it's like Rapid Vienna making it to the semifinal every year.
Yeah.
That's what's gonna. That's what Champions League would look like.
Yeah,
that's
back in the
that
day,
would be-
straight knockout madness.
That's the only reason why I think a salary cap would be great in Europe is so you can get like Rapid Vienna versus like Mainz
Dundalk.
and Dundalk.
Yes.
Dundalk just starts burning folks' houses down.
It would be hilarious. Like it's like PSG lost to Crotone. Like, wait, what?
Eh?
I'm sorry.
Shamrock Rovers beat the dog out of Ghent yesterday. Don't know how that happened.
It can happen.
Oh, man. Okay, we got to get into this one before we go. I was about to wrap us up, but yeah, we're going to have to talk about this one. Hold on.
Okay.
Hold on.
Quick question.
Go ahead.
Have we talked about Lee Win leaving MLS?
Yeah, I mean, it's not
I mean,
really,
I'm happy for him. Like, I like the dude.
yeah,
So.
it's not really a surprise. I mean, he's probably making more money in Vietnam than he's making here. I think
Yeah,
he'd been there
Live like
before.
a king somewhere. Go for it.
Dude,
Yeah.
I hope he makes all the money in the world, and I hope he's happy.
Yeah,
I really liked him.
Lee Wynn will be fine. He will be very, very happy with his.
I am sad to see he's out of MLS, but it just,
Agreed.
yeah, it was he wasn't what he was.
Right,
Um,
right.
But
Okay.
anyway.
Here we go. Sky Sports reporting this evening because tomorrow, West Brom, Big Sam, facing Leeds United, Marcelo Bielsa. Big Sam says he has to work out why Marcelo Bielsa is, quote, so crazy.
Got a whole hemisphere trying to work that out for the last 20 plus years. Good luck, buddy.
I've got to work out why he's so crazy, Allardyce told reporters after the result against Liverpool. It's not crazy, it's more his intelligence and his unique style, and I think it serves the players and serves the club in good stead. I've got to figure out why he's so crazy. It's got to blow Allardyce's
Job with
mind
WWE
watching
cutting
Leeds.
promos.
I would actually like that. That would be kind of fun.
He would cut a really good ambiguous promo where you're not sure if the guy's about to turn face or heel.
Like a good Steven Regal promo.
Oh, Jesus, yes. Kurt Angle in the mid-2000s, that kind of thing.
Yep.
I'm really intrigued. There's so many games coming up, it's hard to keep up with the way it's going in the Premier League. But, man, you got Big Sam and Bielsa tomorrow?
Is that Peacock or is
Take
that
it back to wrestling, we got Styles Clash.
But bump. Nicely done. Let's see what it is on. Let's get the time so we can watch this monstrosity. It will be if Live Soccer TV wants to cooperate with me. Come on, guys. You can do it. You can do it. Where are you?
In a perfect world, LSUfootball.net has expanded out to covering like TV listings of soccer too, but that hasn't happened yet.
No, that hasn't happened yet. Man, what
that site still looks like it was run in 1998, and it's beautiful. But it's always updated with
is it?
The game.
It's like the Space Jam of college football sites.
Yes, it is. LSUTV. I think it's LSUfootball.net. I think is what it is. But it's updated weekly with every game coming up that week and what channel you can find it on. It is a godsend, and it is programmed in Central Time.
Yeah, Live Soccer TV is kind of like that too. And Nick, I have bad news for you. It is on Peacock.
Yeah, I'm not watching it.
1 p.m. on Peacock.
I refuse to. I have CBS, and I find CBS's line of programming to be exceptional. But I have to draw a line in the sand somewhere, and I'm drawing the line at Peacock.
I will probably get my Peacock subscription worth everything for this game because I need to see how this happens. I just need to see like Big Sam's head explode on the sideline trying to figure out what Leeds is doing.
Hey, you know,
it's going to be baffling.
I hope Bielsa just drops like a 6-spot on him.
Oh, please.
Like
please,
somehow.
Please do this. Please.
I'll have to channel Jeff Goldblum here and be like, when it comes to me watching the Peacock, life finds a way.
I know nothing about nothing. I don't know a thing.
Hey, how do you think anybody was watching anything during the Fox Sports South debacle that is still going on and costing me from the Hawks, who are actually fun to watch, and now I still can't watch the Hawks unless they're on national TV.
And they're not on national TV.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to find someone.
Unless they are, I can't watch them.
Right, I'm going to find someone who really, really hates soccer and has like one of the big time providers and just get their subscription from them. Yeah. Just like, hey, look, just give me the login and password.
There's got to be somebody, or there's other ways to do things. You know, I mean, I hear allegedly, possibly, maybe,
allegedly.
But that's going to be a game that should be fun to talk about on Wednesday.
God, if West Brom wins that game, I want Allardyce's quotes after the game. Like he's going to be given a quote.
Bielsa's quotes after the game too.
He's going to get tackled off the camera by Bielsa.
No, Bielsa will just insult him in such a way that Allardyce won't know he's been insulted in the post-game press conference. Bielsa will go on for like 45 minutes and Allardyce won't think.
Sports. Oh my God.
Yeah, it's all going to be madness. So that's tomorrow afternoon. We'll talk more about that in the morning. Get into it on Wednesday as we break everything down. No John tomorrow. I'll be flying solo. If you guys want to crash at any point tomorrow morning, please do so between 9 and 11.
Efforts will be made.
Fly solo?
What's that?
Will you fly solo, though?
Oh, I think that's a...
Hey, man, Goose might have busted his head on the cockpit, but he was still really always Smith Maverick.
Oh, my God.
Really? You went to that one?
Oh, my God. He brought out Goose.
Jared, really? I don't know if that's even good at all.
I feel the need for speed. Ow!
Oh, man, I needed this show tonight. Oh, wow.
Well, that's what we try to do.
Oh, my God.
There's at least one or two references from a movie a night that are just built to break Nick.
That's right.
Pretty much.
Next week, we'll be reviewing Lawnmower Man.
Oh, God. Oh, the commentary that could be provided on that movie.
Oof. All right, you want to wrap it up?
And we'll be reviewing this game.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. I need to wrap it up, huh?
Yeah. Hey, next week's actually 2021, so we'll be in a transfer window. So,
jeez,
stupidity will reign.
Yeah, one way or another, stupidity is going to reign as of next week. So that's helpful, for sure. So as we wrap 2020, it's been a hell of a year for everybody, and it shows really no signs of slowing down as we get to the end. But just know that we, especially on our show, we've really appreciated everyone who's tuned in when we had all stoppage of games and we were fishing for content. I was giving like a spaghetti recipe. I think we were like reviewing TV shows at one point. It was like it got really wild, and you guys stuck with the SDH network and all of us. I mean, Soccer Over There, SDH, you guys stuck with us. We appreciate that support in a way that I don't think you guys get. It's not just, oh, hey, look, there's X number of people in the room. We appreciate the fact that you guys chime in, that you're a part of all of this, that, you check us, you correct us, you laugh at us and laugh with us. And, when we are down, you're down with us too. And it is a family. It is a giant flipping family, and we really appreciate it. It's been a hell of a day for me today. Found out one of my dear friends passed away from triple negative breast cancer. Fought like hell all the way to the end. Try to get through it. But she wanted the knife again and again and again for a day, an hour. Anything to spend Christmas with her kid one last time, and she got it. But if you're feeling down and you're feeling like 2020 is going to kick you square in the ass, just take a cue from Rachel and just keep fighting it and keep going. Because I promise you that lady fought through everything, and she did it with a smile on her face and lifted up others in the process. And I'm not trying to end 2020 on a downer. I'm just simply saying that it's worth noting that this is a big family, and families don't always have great times. Families sometimes have bum times, and you're there for us, and we appreciate it. Thank you so much. As we go into 2021, we're going to have a transfer window that we're going to laugh at and make fun of, and we're going to have funny commentary, and we're going to be shocked by some things, and we're so thrilled that you're going to be on that ride with us, because whatever the hell 2020 had with us, 2021's there. And if 2021 wants to play the same stupid games that 2020 did, by God, we're going to be ready for it. Because we've been punched in the face enough. We know what it feels like. We are ready. So 2021, as you will. But until then, we love you guys so much. Thank you so much. And mucho euro, y'all. We'll see you in 2021.